Hey, hello everyone. Good evening and welcome to my VMware vSphere 5.5 class. In this class, in this video, what I'm trying to show you is what we are going to teach as part of this 45-hour advanced VMware vSphere class. My name is Churi. I have 17 years of industry experience, especially in Windows servers, VMware virtualization, and currently I'm working more on the Amazon AWS cloud infrastructure. I have experience with companies like HP, Unilever, Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, etc. I've been in the United States for the past 17 years and been doing this training for the past 7+ years. I think if my understanding is correct, I think I would have probably taught around 300 plus students. And I'm very proud to say that at this point, many of the students who I taught are in fact in a better position than what I am today. There are many of my students are working for VMware itself. There are people working for AT&T. There are people working for Goldman Sachs. A few of my students are working for Johnson and Johnson, many places. So it is very nice to see, and I have a good network of these people, and they're always providing me new contacts and always refer. And you all are here today. I'm sure most of you, I think 70% of you guys who are attending this class, you guys are all actually coming to this class based on some kind of a reference. Anyway, thanks for joining. What I'm trying to do today in this video is to give you a quick run of my class, what I do, what we teach, and also probably a deeper look at our lab infrastructure. I know there are many companies and many people are doing VMware training. What we think is the class that we provide is definitely useful for you guys. You have a 24/7 access to our lab. All the servers that we are used in this lab are real HP servers. So you can take a look at the class and lab and see how they are set up. The class is going to be around 30 to 35 days. The sessions are typically taken between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. EST every weekdays. So let me jump onto it. I don't want to take much time. This is going to be a short video, but this video we're going to try to show you what exactly we're going to cover. So as you all know, you are here to learn VMware virtualization technology. VMware is a lot of people come and say, I'm going to learn VMware. It's not true. VMware is a company. Do you say, I'm going to learn Microsoft or I'm going to learn Amazon? I don't think anybody say, right? You know specifically what you are trying to learn from these companies. So VMware is, again, just like that, it's a company. It's a company based in Palo Alto, California. This company has grown a lot. They started in 1998, and they started, the company started really and recognizing this company, VMware, probably in the early 2002. And I'm very fortunate that I started working with VMware virtualization technology from 2002 onwards. Some of you may be wondering, is it that old? Yes. VMware virtualization technology has been in the industry for more than a decade. In fact, as I said, I started working when VMware launched their hypervisor called ESX Server 2.5. Prior to that, there was 2.0, but I started my VMware experience with 2.5. After 2.5, VMware has upgraded their hypervisor uh, many times, and today the latest and greatest version of their hypervisor is ESXi 6.0. So what you're seeing in front of this picture, this is the architecture of the ESX server. There are two versions, ESX and ESXi. ESX is actually no more there. VMware stopped manufacturing ESX servers. Right now, what they are doing is something called as ESXi server. Let me show you the ESXi's architecture. This is pretty much the ESXi server's architecture. When we go through the class, when we start the class, we will go through each and every block in it. And I think that is the way you need to understand this particular hypervisor. If you can clearly differentiate and understand what each of these blocks do, then I think you will be in a better position. There are a lot of people teach or people learn, they just go and install ESX server, create some VMs. That is not the way. You need to start from the basic building blocks. You need to really understand how the architecture works, what are the components inside it, and what each of these things do. There are specific reasons why these things are there, and they all do very specific task in order to make this very powerful operating system, VMware vSphere ESXi platform. So let me go back, as I said, VMware, you're not going to learn VMware. VMware is a company. So what we are going to learn is actually VMware's cloud platform. Let me try to show you what is VMware as a company do. So this is a VMware.com. If you go to VMware.com, you can see their products. If you go to this products line, you can see that this company, as I said, over the past 10, 12 years, they improved a lot. They added a lot more capabilities and functionalities and products into their products line. And these are all different products. Are we going to learn all these? No. So what exactly we're going to learn is actually their data center and cloud infrastructure. Let me tell you one more thing here. I know there is a lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, Cherry, can you teach me cloud?" What I tell all these people is, you cannot learn cloud computing, especially infrastructure as a cloud. You cannot learn just like that. You could probably to a certain extent. It will be, I would say, it is something like shooting in the dark, because the underlying platform for cloud is virtualization. So you really need to understand virtualization first. Without knowing virtualization, without understanding the concepts and technology that works behind virtualization, learning cloud, I think, is a waste. I mean, you could do it, as I said, but it won't be complete. Now, coming to virtualization, can you learn virtualization without having a good, thorough understanding about server infrastructure, server hardware? You need to understand about servers, blade servers, rack mount servers. You need to understand about storage technologies, different storage technologies. You might have heard about SAN. There are NAS and SAN and iSCSI technologies, fiber channel technologies. There is a lot of technologies you need to understand. Hardware level technologies you need to understand in order to learn virtualization. So you need to start from ground up and go upwards. It's not from the other way down. You cannot do that. So I think it is very important for a person who really want to excel in this cutting edge technologies like cloud or virtualization. You need to have a very solid understanding of physical infrastructure, the physical hardware. You need to have some understanding about networking. You need to have understanding about TCP/IP protocol suite. You need to have a good understanding about storage, servers, and things like that. So in this class, even though we say it is VMware vSphere course, I know it is, from my experience, I know if I just start from VMware installation and configuration, I don't think many of you will understand. So what we do is, when we start the class, we start from the very basic concept. We will teach you what a server is, how to connect to a server. As I said, all our servers are HP servers, so you will get a very close interaction with these servers. We will go through different server settings. We will show you how to connect through ILO. As I said, that this lab is 24/7. So you can connect to the lab. You can, in fact, from your house, from your home, wherever you are, any part of the world, you can actually connect to our lab. You can power on and power off these HP servers. You can go to the BIOS and you can change the array controllers and go and create different RAIDs like RAID 5 and RAID 10 and RAID 1. You can do all that. So we'll teach you all those things. So in this course, we are primarily going to learn this main product called VMware vSphere. VMware vSphere is the leading server virtualization platform that runs VMware's cloud. Now, at the time in 2002, 2003, there were no other competitors for VMware. Later in 2008, Microsoft got into the virtualization industry. Microsoft now has a Hyper-V. We'll talk about that also a little bit in our course. So anyway, Microsoft has their own virtualization technology. Citrix has the Zen server, their part of virtualization. So there is a lot of other hypervisors or virtualization platforms are available in the industry. But let me tell you guys one thing. VMware's vSphere is definitely the number one virtualization platform that is available today. I would say 85 to 90% of enterprise companies are using VMware's virtualization technology compared to any other products. Yes, it is true that Microsoft is catching up the market, but I would say Microsoft is probably around 2 to 3 generations behind what VMware is offering today. I, as an engineer, as I said, I work on both technologies, but the ease and the stability and the performance of VMware is way, way above any other competitor products, especially Hyper-V. So we are going to learn in this course, we're going to learn about VMware's vSphere platform. I'm not going to jump into it. When we do the first class, probably I'll go in detail of all this. What I wanted to show you here is what the lab looks like and how we do it. So, I'm just showing, we will be providing you all these documentations. These are custom made documentations. You can see the partitioning of ESX server. How do you partition? These are all important points. I know many of the people don't really know how the ESXi partitions, how ESXi is installed. What are the different partitions? What is the purpose of these partitions? If you're going for an interview and all, these are things that you really need to know. And not only that, not for interview, even when you're troubleshooting, when you're working in a large mission critical environments, it is very important to understand these partitions in order to troubleshoot when there is a problem. So what I wanted to show you right now is the lab. What you're seeing right now is actually probably a screenshot of what I'm teaching right now. This is like a class that is ongoing. So I'm just using this lab to show you what and how our environment look like. You can see that these are all servers. These are all, this is actually a VMware vSphere platform. So what is vSphere? What is the difference between vSphere and an ESX server? All these things we will talk in the class. So I'm actually, as I said, this is a quick run of all the things that we provide in the lab. So you can see that these are all different ESX servers or ESXi servers. So look at this particular server. This is actually an HP ProLiant DL380 Generation 5 server. This server has some good amount of memory. It has 4 CPUs. You can see that these many VMs are running. Like that, every server is, you can see that they're all HP servers in this lab. So these are all actually the virtual machines that are running. The students have created this. So as I said, during the entire time of the course, you will have complete access to this lab. You will be connecting to the lab and you will be working on it. These are not the complete set of servers. We have around 10 plus HP servers in the lab, so I'm sure you will have plenty of hardware to play around and work during this entire course. So this is how it looks like. We will talk about all these details later, how it is. I have a couple more other servers here. You can see that these are some other servers, the virtual center. This is actually one of the server that we don't provide in the lab. This is where probably our infrastructure is running. You can see the vCenter and remote desktop, Citrix, and all those things are running here. Apart from this, a lab, this is a complete, when you work on this lab, you actually feel like you're working in an enterprise company. The concept that the whole course is oriented in such a way that, take it this way, we are hiring you to build and configure a enterprise level virtualization platform for a company that has offices in Atlanta, Dallas, and New York. Just imagine, you may be working for a hospital, or maybe you're working for a small hedge fund company, and you've been hired to set up a virtualization platform, or maybe you've been hired to support a virtualization platform for such a company that has data centers in 3 different regions. It could be within US, it could be across the globe, doesn't matter, but you get a feel of how you're really going to work in an enterprise company. So the whole class is moving towards that trend. So by the end of the course, I could say probably you will be in a position to say, okay, hey, I know how to build a ESX server, create VMs, build clusters, configure complex networking, configure storage, create replications, provide disaster recovery. All these things will be covered in this course. That is why I said the course starts from very, very basic level. Even people without any experience can actually learn and pick up from this. Many of my students were like that. I believe me, they didn't even know anything when they come to my classes. And these are some of the people who are working in large companies, are people who didn't even know ABCs of system administration. But it is not, I'm not saying it is all my credit, but it is also their credit. You need to have a passion, you need to have a real interest. That is what the primary thing you need. If you have a good interest and a passion towards this technology, leave the rest to me, I will take care of it. But if you're coming here to learn something and trying to get a job, if that is the case, I don't think this class is for you. This is a class for people who really want to learn the in and out of VMware virtualization technology. So please, if you're really interested, come for this class. We can make sure that you will go out with a lot of satisfaction. In fact, you will be probably in a position to talk as if you have worked in a virtualization environment for 2-3 years. That part we can guarantee you. All we need is your passion and your interest and dedication. I know every people is different, but believe me, the interest and the passion is what is going to drive you. So as I said, VMware virtualization is just one part of it, but that is not enough. In order to do this lab, we have a complete set of environment. Look at this. This is actually our Active Directory environment. Just like your enterprise company, your company, when you go to a company, what you see, this is all the labs and servers. Excuse me. This is all the servers in my lab. We have an Active Directory domain. You can see that we have Microsoft. I do also Windows clustering classes. We do Amazon classes, but I don't think I want to get into that discussion today. But if anybody is interested in Windows or Amazon cloud, or we also do an Oracle DBA class. It's not me, actually. Another friend of mine is doing an Oracle DBA advanced course with grid and rack clusters and all. So If you are interested or your friends are interested in any of these courses, let us know. So this is the Active Directory. So the course does not cover any Active Directory topics or anything, but we will give you a quick overview of what is Active Directory and how Active Directory Active Directory is important for an enterprise company and how VMware is attached to it. So there's quite a lot of things that we will be talking about Active Directory in this class, because it is very important to have a good understanding about enterprise networks and the Active Directory setup in order to work with VMware in a much more better way. Apart from Active Directory, you need to also understand about, I think many of you might have heard about, DNS servers. You need to understand DNS. We have a completely fully functional DNS environment here. These are all the different records. We also have a complete configured DHCP environment. All these is required for a lab to perform. So that is what I'm saying. So when you join our course, you are working as if, even though it's a lab, you're going to work as if like you're working in an enterprise company. You're going to get the same feel and experience like what you're working in an enterprise company. We're trying our best to provide you the best available experience as you learn throughout this course. Apart from this, we also provide a lot of documentation. We give you these books. These are books. We will be giving books and course materials. We will be providing class videos. Every class, after the class, you will be getting high quality videos. And you can always reach out to us for any questions. Another thing I just wanted to quickly show you here is, as I said, this is a run around of the class. Just wanted to finish off this quick video in probably in 15-20 minutes. So I'm just trying to show you whatever is possible. So as I said, remember, you might have heard I was talking about HP servers. So what is an HP server? See, look at this. This is actually an HP server. I just wanted to take a few minutes to show you how an HP server looks like. So first of all, let me go to Google and show you some of the servers that we use in the class. So if you go to Google and type HP ProLine DL380, we can take any server. I'm just going to show a G5 server or G6 server. If you look at it, I don't know how many of you have seen. This is an HP server. Look at this. These are all different HP servers. These are rack mount servers. This is the servers that I'm using in this lab. The 10 servers that we are providing are servers like this. These are the exact same servers probably you will be seeing when you go to any company. 99% of companies are using DL series ProLine servers. The latest version of HP servers is actually generation 9 servers. In our lab, we have generation 7 and generation 6 and 5 servers. They're all pretty same, but some features and some capacity and capabilities are a little different. We also give you a very detailed understanding about the HP Blade servers, because in many enterprise companies they are using Blade servers for VMware installations. Let me show you how a Blade server looks like. So if you look at it, this is actually an HP, the picture of an HP Blade server. Look at this. This is how it looks like. This is just one box that contains 16 servers. Earlier, what I showed you was individual rack mount servers. They are more powerful than these servers, but they take a lot of space. That they produce a lot of heat and cool. You need a lot of cooling and all those things. So companies are moving towards Blade servers in certain cases. Okay, not all cases. in the environment where I work today, I think we have half of the servers are rack mount and the remaining are running blade servers. So this is actually a picture of a HPC 7000 blade chassis, which contains 16 blade servers. So we will talk about blade servers. We will explain and show you how it is. You can see the backside. This is actually the backside of that same uh, server chassis that I showed. The backside of a HP chassis is very complex. It has fiber channel switches, network switches, onboard administrators, and a lot of things. So you don't need to really understand how to configure this, but it is very important that you need to understand how you connect to these blade servers, how do you install and configure ESX server in it, how do you manage this. There is actually a tool called onboard administrator. So in the course, I will walk you through the steps that you need to understand. Because when you go to a company and you say you are a VMware experienced person, you know a lot of things, and if you don't know how to connect to a blade, that's the story is over there. So it is very important that you need to understand the hardware first and get some familiarity with the hardware before you get into learning VMware itself, how to install VMware, how to configure VMs, how to create virtual switches and virtual storage and things like that. So we will start the class with hardware. We will teach you how to connect to these servers, how to configure the servers. We'll talk about different RAID technologies and things like that. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to connect to one of my HP server, and you will be doing the same thing in the lab, but this is a software. This is like, what is integrated lights out? Integrated lights out in general terms, people say ILO, ILO. It is actually a program that is on the motherboard of every HP server, which will allow you to connect to that server remotely. Just imagine you have laptops and desktops in your house. Can you remotely power on that server and power off that server? Maybe you could remotely power off that server. Once you power off that computer, your laptop or desktop or your server, you may not be able to power it on remotely. You have to go to that box and then press that power button to make it on, correct? But that's not possible. When you're working in an enterprise company, you may be in the New York office, your server is in Australia. How do you connect to a server in Australia and how do you power it on? When you are working, everybody in Australia is sleeping. You cannot call somebody there. You need to have some kind of a mechanism to connect to that server and power it on. In order to do that, HP provides this very powerful software called ILO. What the server that I'm connecting, 10.10.10.35, this is an HP server. That server is running ILO version 2. The latest version of ILO is actually ILO version 4, which is very, very powerful. I mean, that you will learn, but once you understand the concept, once you understand what is ILO, uh, jumping few versions up or down doesn't make any sense. They are all pretty same. So what I'm trying to show you here is I'm going to connect to one of my HP server, and let me show you how it looks like. How do you power on, how do you power off, and things like that. Okay. So ILO requires a username and password. So I'm actually going to log in. It looks like, all right. So I logged into the ILO server. Now you can see that this is actually a DL380 generation 5 server. It shows the serial number of the HP server. These are things that you really need, okay, when you're working on an HP server and that server running VMware ESX server. Let's say it has an hardware problem. You have to call HP or you may have to call VMware. That point, the first thing they're going to ask you is, hey, give me the serial number, give me the product ID number. You need to know all these things in order to work with the support people. So this is actually the status summary page of a HP server. You can see a lot more things here. You can see the fans, the condition of the fans. You can see the temperature on it. You can see the power. See the processors on it. You can see that it has two processors on this server. Each processor is a dual core processor. You can see the different memory chips. You can see the network cards on these servers. So we will go through ILO in detail later. But right now, what I wanted to show you is, it has a remote console, so you can actually connect to the server, and you can, it is actually, there are different ways you can connect, and you can see. So let me see. I can show you. I can show you the console of this server. Actually, this server is currently running, and it has a VMware ESX server is actually running on this server. If this server is currently powered on and running. So let's look at this is how, let's just assume this server is in Australia. You're sitting in New York and you're connecting to a server and you're seeing the console of the server. Look at this server. This is actually running an ESXi version 5.5. You can actually connect and manage this server from here. You can actually do. So let me try to log into this server. So what you're seeing is actually I'm logging into an ESXi 5.5. Now we'll learn how to install it, how to configure it. This is called as the DCUI, the Direct Console User Interface of a ESXi 5.5 server. We will go through configuring all these when we learn the class. So what I'm trying to show you here is not the ESX or anything. What I wanted to show you here is, let me take the screen into a side. So this is actually the console of the server. And what I'm going to do is I wanted to go to this power management tab. As I said, you can power on and power off the server. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to power off this server. What do you do if you want to shut down your power off your desktop or your laptop? What do you do normally? You normally go and press that power button, right? You have to press and hold for probably for 2-3 seconds. Then only the computer will go off, isn't it? In the other side, if you want to start your laptop or desktop, you don't have to press and hold. You just need to do a momentary press, correct? Same concept applies here. This is an HP server. Just assume this server is in Australia. And I wanted to power off this server. Okay, not shutting down. I just wanted to do a power off. So if I want to power off that server, you can see that the server, it says the server is currently on, and that is why you're seeing this screen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to press and hold this button. So it is actually a virtual power concept. It's asking, hey, do you want to press and hold the virtual power button for this device? If I say yes, you can see that that server is going to go off. Look at this now, what happens. I just pressed power on. I can see that the server is going to go off. See, the server is currently off. That means the screen is gone. You can see that the display will go in a minute. Okay. You can see that the server is gone off. The server is completely off now. If you are standing in front of this server in Australia, you can see that the server is powered off now. So this is the case. The server is currently powered off. This is exactly what you will be doing in the class. So if you are going to do the lab, let's say after a few classes, you get access to the lab. You won't be getting access to the lab the first day, because if you get the access to the lab first day or the second day, what are you going to do? You don't know what to do. You don't understand the network here. You don't understand the IP range here. You don't understand the name of the servers. A lot of things you need to understand, which we will provide as part of the course. But what I'm trying to tell you here is, when you get access to the lab and you want to build an ESX server, I know many of you guys, your friends or whoever learned, you won't get access to a server. But here in this lab, we provide you from ground level access. You are going to connect to the server. You're going to power on the server. You're going to put the CD and you're going to install it. You're going to configure RAID. Everything you're going to do by yourself. So if that is the case, let us go and power on this server. As I said, if you want to power on a server, what do? You just go to the power button and do a momentary press, correct? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to power this button, and here you go. The server is going to be on now. You can see that the server is on. Now the server is on. You don't need the screen now. Let's watch here what's happening. Let me minimize all this. So you can see that the server is going to come up. HP servers, any servers, it takes some time for it to power on, and you can see that it comes up. We will explain what are the components, what you're seeing and all. Right now, I'm not able to do it, but all I'm trying to show you here is how to get into the server. So you can see that the HP ProLine server is starting. So you can see that the server is coming. It has 8 GB RAM. It has 2 processors. We'll show you, there is a setting for ILO. I'm not going to get into the ILO, but I wanted to show you the hardware, the hard disk, the RAID controllers, and also this is where the integrated lights out is configured. Here is the smart array controller. We'll talk about all this when we do the class, but I just wanted to show you how do you configure your hard disks and things like that. So I've just pressed F8. Which we will teach you. Right now, don't worry about it. You just try to understand here. So I'm just trying to show you here. These are the different RAIDs. You can see that this server has multiple drives. I have a RAID 5 that consists of 3 different hard drives. I have a RAID 0 here configured with the different drives. So you will learn all these things, and it is very important. uh, Believe me, if you really don't know what is RAID and what different type of RAIDs do, I always ask people, even experienced system administrators, when I ask the question, hey, tell me what's the difference between a RAID 5 and a RAID 10, many of them don't know. Let's say you are a system administrator or a VMware administrator, and your database guys come to you and say, hey, you know what, we want a new VM, or we want a new server to put the newest SQL Server database. If you are a system administrator, what type of server you provide? Are you going to just go and create a virtual machine and give it to him? You cannot. If you do that, you're going to be in a big trouble after a few months, because once the database is ready and people started using it, you're going to see that the database admins come back to you and say, what the heck you're given? The server is really slow. The server is not performing. So it is very important for a system administrator to understand what type of workloads are going to run on the VMs. And based on the workloads, you need to configure the VMs according to the workloads. If it is a highly write intensive database, you may want to put RAID 10, not RAID 5. If it is a read intensive database, you may want to put RAID 5. In some cases, you may want to make RAID 0 and RAID 1 and things like that. I know many people don't even know what is RAID, but they know how to install ESX servers and configure VMs and all, but they really don't know what is RAID. Very important technology. It's been in the industry for probably 25 years, and it is still being used. And this is the basic concept of server storage. First you learn this, and then we learn SAN and other things, but this is important. Anyway, I just wanted to show you this because this is the way we learn the class. It is not just like go and install ESX server. So I just wanted to get out from here, and you can see that the server is continuing to boot, and this server is already having VMware operating system, so it is going to boot from that hard disk and keep on going. You can see that it is going to load VMware hypervisor. Okay, so I'm not waiting for this to complete, but you got an idea how a ESX server is booting, how to configure, how you power on and power off servers and things like that. Okay. So as I said, there is a lot of things we cover. There are different tools we need to do. Uh, we will be going through all these things um, in the class. Uh, Apart from that, once the course is over, we also provide you, if you need it. It's not, as I also wanted to tell you something. I have been getting students from different consulting firms. Some very famous consulting firms also provides students to me. They send their students, I train them, and then they market and place. Sometimes students come to us. We also do marketing and placements. We can talk about that offline. Contact us and we can provide you the details. We will help you make your resumes and we will provide you every needed support in order to do a job. But as I said, don't come to the class just to get a job or just to get a, you know, uh, some support. No, that's not the thing. You have to have the passion. You have to have the interest. If you are not having that, I would say this is not a class for you. Come to this class if you're really interested in learning in and out of VMware's virtualization technology. Believe me, I teach with a lot of passion. In fact, sometimes people say I get angry at students because uh, if I teach something, if I put that much effort and teach you, and if I don't get that response back from you guys, that's going to take the complete interest out of me, right? So, what I really want is a class which is probably the most outstanding, responsive class. Please ask as much as questions as possible. I will try to answer every possible question. If I cannot find an answer, I will try to get an answer. And that is how I learned. Believe me, in the last 8 years, I have learned a lot of things from this teaching itself. And as you said, as you all know, teaching is probably the best teacher for you. I have learned a lot. I have people, experienced SAN administrators, experienced networking guys, web application, WebSphere, WebLogic administrators. There are many experienced people, as well as a lot of fresh OPT, CPT, and even guys who just really wanted to get into IT industry. There are many different type of peoples I have taught, and I have learned from everyone, from every different industries. So, what I would prefer is when you are in the class, keep asking questions. Keep asking. The more you ask, the more you get. So there is another talk I wanted to say. A lot of people say, hey, all your classes are same. No, absolutely. Every class of mine is different. It depends on the students in the class. As I said, if there are some really experienced people, most of the time my class contains a mix of people. There will be at least 4 or 5 experienced people in the class, like experienced Windows, Linux administrators, SAN administrators, and then a pool of fresh graduates. So, that's the way the class goes. If you guys are really interested, let us know. You can always reach us to trainings@solvinsys.com or call us on the phone numbers that are provided. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview of my class, and that is exactly what I'm trying to do here. In this same YouTube site, you can see one of my vMotion class. Go and take a look at that. And those who also want to see our Oracle class, there is a video of Oracle also. We'll be adding more and more videos into it. So keep looking at this site. You will be finding some interesting videos. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to give a very quick overview of my lab and the class. If you have more questions, we can talk about it. Um, I know, I just ran this. There is actually a very detailed demo class video that we are planning to upload. Let's see if possible, we'll try to upload that video. But this is how the lab looks like. As I said, you have complete access to the lab. You will be connecting and building the servers. Every batch of mine is typically around 10 to 12 peoples. So the classes once I announce my class, typically the class gets filled very fast. So if you guys are really interested, let us know soon as possible, because the class is going to get filled very fast. So thanks again for watching my video. I hope you got a little idea about uh, my lab and virtualization technology. I know I didn't teach anything about virtualization, but anyway, before I thought I will stop this, but let me take 5 more minutes and quickly show you what is a virtual machine and how to create a virtual machine. I think at least that way, when you go back to somebody, you can say, oh, I know what a virtual machine is. I know how to create a virtual machine, how simple it is. Let us take a look at that. Okay. So virtual machine, what is a virtual machine? A virtual machine is nothing but a set of encapsulated files. It is nothing but few files. That's it. And this was one of the biggest security concerns for enterprise companies, especially financial, pharmaceutical companies. This was one of the biggest concerns. At that time, I'm talking about 2000, 2002 time period. If your computer, if your server, if your VM is going to be in few files, how secure it is? And today, it is definitely secure. That's why 99% of the companies are using virtualization. If you look at any company, you can see that 80 to 90 percentage of their infrastructure is currently running on virtualization. So let's take this in a different approach. Let's say if I give you $500 and I ask you, hey, John, hey, Ravi, go to Best Buy and buy all the things that are required to assemble a computer. It can be a laptop, it can be a desktop or whatever. I'm giving you $500 and I'm telling you, hey, go and buy all the things, all the components that is required to assemble a computer. What do? You go to Radio Shack or you go to Best Buy and you're going to buy quite some things, right? You're going to buy a monitor, you're going to buy a keyboard, you're going to buy processors, you're going to buy motherboard, you're going to buy memory, you're going to buy hard drives, processors. You need to buy all these things and probably a cage and all, and then you come back, and if you know how to assemble it, you can assemble it completely, and then you can start your computer, isn't it? So when you go and buy all these different parts, as I said, the motherboard, the processor, the memory, the hard disk, and all these things, and let us say you assemble it properly, you connected it to a monitor, keyboard, and mouse, and then you power on that particular assembled computer. What are you going to see on your screen? Are you going to see Windows XP or Windows 7? Are you going to see Windows 2008? No, right? You're going to see the BIOS. Because at that point, you just assembled a x86 based computer, which has processor, memory, network cards, and all that things, but it does not have an operating system. So the next step is once you have the computer ready, then you can put the CD and install operating system, right? If you have a computer, you can install Linux on it. You can install Windows 2008 or 2003 on it. You can install Windows 7 or Windows XP or Windows 10 on it. It's up to what you select, right? So that is in a real world scenario. You go to the shop, it will take you probably 3 days or maybe a week to set up such a computer. What I'm trying to show you here is how virtualization has turned the world. Let me show you how to create a virtual computer here. So in order to do that, these are all the VMware ESX servers, and what I'm going to show you here is, let me take a look at some storage options here. You can see that, we have a different storage in the lab. We have ICSC storage, we have NFS storage, fiber channel storage, all these things are there. So right now in this server, I'm just trying to see, okay, this server has some space. I have 135 gig free space here. In this particular drive, that's a local drive. So I'm going to create a virtual machine here. So when you want to create a new virtual machine, as I said, I'm going to assemble a computer here. Just like you assembled from Best Buy, I'm going to assemble a computer here. Let's take a look at it. A new virtual machine. I'm going to go with the custom option. I'm going to give it a name, my new PC. Let's give it a name called my new PC. I'm going to create it in the New York data center. And I'm going to select. So as I said, a virtual machine is what? Nothing but a set of files. So the wizard is asking me, hey, you're going to create a VM. That means you're going to create a set of files. Where you want to store that files? This particular server has all these different storage. Some are external storage, some are local storage, iSCSI storage. Uh, we will talk about those things later, but I'm just going to pick this storage that I discussed earlier. We have 135 gig free space there, so I'm going to pick the biggest drive. And there are different versions of VMware VMs you can make. I'm selecting the version 8 for now. And when you build, this is another beauty of VMware. When you build a VMware VM, a virtual machine, it supports pretty much every operating system that you can think of. Look at it. VMware supports all these versions of Windows platform, starting from Server 2012 all the way down to MS-DOS. It also supports a wide variety of Linux boxes. Linux, you can see Red Hat, SUSE, CentOS, Debian, Ocean, Oracle Linux, Ubuntu, everything it supports. You can see even on the left-hand side of the picture, you can see that there are different boxes built by my students. They have Red Hat there, Ubuntu's there, Windows servers are there. So you can select a wide range of operating systems also. Not only Linux and Windows, VMware also supports Apple Mac and Solaris and Sun Solaris and all those things also. Okay, we will get into these details later, but right now I'm going to just pick a Windows 2008 R2 as an option. And now we're starting the assembly. Okay, so we are in the process of assembling a computer, right? It is a virtual machine, but we are assembling the same way you did from Best Buy. So it's asking, hey, how many processors you want? I'm going to say I need 2 processors for my computer. I'm going to say, hey, I need 6 gigabytes of RAM memory, 6 gigabytes of RAM for my computer. I'm going to say, hey, I need 2 network cards. And I'm going to say, okay, these network cards, these are, we'll talk about all these later, but let me quickly go. I'm saying I need 2 network cards. I need a SCSI controller. The controller, SCSI controller is actually the controller that manages your hard drives. So I'm creating a LSI logic SCSI controller card. And now it is asking, hey, do you need a hard disk for your computer? Sure, I need a hard disk. Then only I can install operating system. Then only I can install my applications. So I'm going to create a new virtual hard disk. It's a virtual machine, so we create virtual hard drives. So it is asking me what should be the size of the drive. So I'm going to say, hey, I need a 100 gig hard drive. So I'm going to create a VM called my PC. And I'm going to put 100 gigabytes of hard drive to it. Now what a hard drive is, and all we will learn later how it is made, and as I said, it's all files, but we will see how it is. And there are different ways you can provision a disk, which is definitely, these are all very important interview questions. Typically when you go for a VMware interview, you can see that people asking you what is thick provision and thin provision, what is eager zeroed and lazy zeroed, and all. We will learn all that when we learn the details. Right now I'm just showing you. So I'm creating a 100 gig hard drive. I'm creating a SCSI controller card, and I'm pretty much done, and I'm clicking finish. See, it's as simple as that. If I could have clicked that button pretty fast, I could have created that computer in less than 10 seconds. You can see that it is creating the new virtual machine here, my new PC. You see that? Done. It is provisioned so that my new PC is done. So I'm actually going to come here and I'm opening the console. This is actually that my new PC. Let's look at this in a clean way. So this server, this VM, this computer is ready now. Let me just make it a little big so you guys can see. There is it's not on. Before that, let me just go and show you something. So this is actually the settings of the VM. You can see that it has 6 gig RAM. Many of you might have seen VMware workstations and all, but this is definitely different. VMware workstation is a very miniature level of thing, but here you're learning enterprise servers and concepts. Okay, so you can see that the servers, if you want to add more networks or remove networks or reduce RAM and all, you can do all that things here. What I'm just trying to show you here is, let me just make some small changes here to show you something. Okay, all right, so we are ready. The computer is ready, and I am going to power on that things. Here you go. So I'm starting the computer for the first time. I assembled it, and now it is starting. Watch this. You can see that it is booting now, and it just came up. So let me just do this. So you can see that this is actually a computer, right? This is just like your computer. You can see that the boot part, the boot order, this is the BIOS. Every VM, even though it's a VM, it also has the BIOS. It is exactly same as your laptop or desktop that you assembled from Best Buy. It is an x86 based computer. So now you have a computer and your VM is ready. Now, if you escape from here, let me just escape from here, and you can see that it is booting, but there is no operating system, correct? That is why it is standing here. What do you need to do next? This is exactly what you did in your house. You went and bought all the things, you assembled the processor, motherboard, everything, and now you powered on. This is what you're going to see also. There is no operating system. What do you do? Next, what do? You do is you're going to put the CD, correct? Yes, our VM also has a CD drive. You can see that there is a CD drive. So you can actually put uh, CD. Let me see what happens. Okay. So I'm going to put a ISO file instead. We'll talk about CD. So I have a Windows Server 2008 R2 ISO file. ISO file is nothing but a bootable CD-ROM file. I'll explain what that is and how to make that and how to connect it. But I'm actually going to attach that CD. So actually speaking right now, you can see that I have attached that CD. You can see that the green checkbox here, that means I have the CD. Now I have put the CD. What do I need to do next is I have to reboot the server. So I'm rebooting that server, and you can see that now it's going to boot from that CD. If you know, see here, Windows is loading the files. You started the installation. Excuse me. So now we are in the process of installing a Windows operating. You can install Linux or Mac or Solaris or Ubuntu or anything you want. You can install here. Right now we are installing a Windows Server 2008 R2 into this VM, my new PC. And if you know how to install Windows, you can continue with it. I'm not going to move forward, but in the class we will be doing it. But this is what it is. See how simple it is and how fast it is. I just assembled a computer from scratch and I'm already started installing the operating system. Just imagine why this technology has changed the world, why the technology has changed the way companies operate. Virtualization is not, there is a concept or there was a big notion in the past that virtualization is going to help you consolidate. Virtualization is done for consolidation. You can reduce the number of servers and create a lot of virtual machines so that your data center will become smaller. You don't need that much cooling or electricity or cables or anything. You could save a lot of money. It was true to a certain extent in the past, but today companies are not doing virtualization to save cost, not doing virtualization to save cooling or power. No, they're doing virtualization to take advantage of the great features that virtualization offers. Believe me, guys, hundreds of features, hundreds of capabilities you're going to get with this great technology. Cloning, templates, snapshots, vMotion, all these are great technologies. Fault tolerance. And we'll be learning all those features and capabilities as part of the class. So this is what it is. You can see that it will take some time for the installation to complete. So I'm not going to wait for that. It is going to start. But what I wanted to also show you here is just to show you here. So if you go to this My New PC and go to the Summary tab, you can see the summary, the details of that particular virtual machine that we just created. You can see that it is on this storage. If I browse that storage, you're going to see a folder with the name My New PC. Okay, let's go and take a look at that folder, and then I'll stop. Okay. Looks like that server is slow. Let me go here. All right. Not sure what exactly happening. It's taking a lot of time. All right. I mean, I don't want to wait. I don't know what happened, but let's go to any one other folder and show you something here. This all is looking slow. So let's go to this server and look at one of this folder. All right, look at this folder. These are all different VM. This is called a working directory of a VM. So I'm just going to go to the Sandeep's VM, that folder, and show you the files. So these are the files that makes up a VM. And it is very important that you need to understand what these files are, what is the functions of these files, what are the extensions of it, what is the purpose of each. Each of that file has a specific purpose and has specific settings and configuration. The most important file of a VM, a virtual machine, is this file, the .vmx file. The .vmx file is actually called as the configuration file of your VM. Your VMs, how much processor it is having, how much memory it is having, what's the name of it, what's the BIOS, what's the MAC address, all that information is stored in that file. It is pretty much a simple text file. You can download that file, and actually you can actually download that file to your desktop, and you could possibly see the contents of that file. Let me show you that file actually. This is that file, guys. If you know how to edit it, we will be learning in the class. You can see that this is that file, the VMX file of that one VM. You can see the MAC address of the network card. You can see what is the how much memory it is there. Every details. You can see the name of your VM. Every information is in this file. So as we learn the class, you will understand how to modify that file, how to manipulate that file. So VMX file is one of the most important file. Another important file is actually the VMDK file, virtual machine disk file. That is the hard disk of your computer. Remember, we created a 100 gig. This is a different VM, but that VMDK stands for that hard disk. That is the hard disk of your. And there are many other files like NVRAM, that's the BIOS of your VM. The swap file, the virtual memory of your file. Then there are some log files and stuff like that. Anyway, what I was trying to show you here is a virtual machine is nothing but a set of encapsulated files. And you also saw how easy it is to create a virtual machine. Creating a virtual machine and installing an operating system is the first step, but that is not this course is all about. The course is all about the great technologies behind it. If you right click on any one of these VM, you can see there's a lot of functional like cloning, template, fault tolerance, profiles, and things like that. We will go through all that. This whole product is called a VMware vSphere platform. The product that I'm teaching you right now is actually called as this is the VMware vSphere platform. So we are learning the VMware vSphere. Okay. So thanks everyone. I hope you at least got some idea about this class. You got some idea about the course. The 45-hour thing, what I teach, I was trying to put it in a 30 minutes video, but I think I passed 30 minutes. I thought of doing it for 30 minutes, but I hope you all enjoyed. If you wanted to know more about this class and you want to learn this, kindly contact us back. Thanks.